What's going on, guys? It's Beck, and today we got a brand new video with FTX trying to bail out Voyager customers this time and get them back at least a portion of their money, about 75% that Sam Bankman-Fried claims Voyager has still under management in their assets that they could give back to customers, but right now everything's just frozen. Right now they're going through their bankruptcy proceedings and going with lawyers and other companies trying to pay money for these assets, basically at a steep discount, and basically like buy Voyager's assets or buy Voyager, and they can do whatever they want with the assets. What Sam Bankman-Fried's trying to do with FTX is buy those assets, basically, he says, at 100% cost and give the money back to the customers. Don't know exactly what his play would be in this. Obviously, something has to be benefiting him, even if it's only doing this to make FTX look like a better brand, more trustworthy, and get more customers. That's still going to benefit him. But he made a thread on Twitter here talking about Voyager, his offer to Voyager to buy the company, the problems that he sees with his whole bankruptcy filing, proceedings, and everything. You can see Voyager lost customer assets, still has the majority left. Why haven't those been returned to customers yet? Completely agree. Sad fact from a bankruptcy process. I'm going to go over the important tweets here. He has like 14 tweets or tweets that I think we can point stuff out on. But completely right. If Voyager has the money and it's customers' money, why don't they just give you back what they can? So you just makes more sense that way, right? But they're instead being sucked dry by consultant fees, lawyer fees, the bankruptcy filings, different companies betting against each other to buy the entire company, buy their assets. So a lot of things going on. His second tweet here says, let's say Voyager has remaining 75% of assets. Don't know the exact number, so that's where the 75 came from, but could be less, could be more, probably less, but seems like the first thing that should happen is customers get back 75% and then later get back the rest if anything is recovered from 3AC. Why hasn't this happened yet? All good questions so far. It doesn't make much sense. If you have the money, if you have $100 in Voyager and they have $75 that you could do whatever you want with, you could keep it there, you could withdraw it, you would be able to control your money, but the 25 is what's lost. Then you could make two categories. Say you could withdraw 75, 25 is the claim against 3AC. So why wouldn't they do that yet? Doesn't really make sense. A lot of people trying to buy the assets and then the customer gets screwed in the end because technically you're an unsecured creditor. And a lot of people didn't even realize that they were that. He goes on to talk about how, things are really going down, saying the traditional process is that before customers get their assets back, they get rallied. First, there's a long, drawn-out process during which funds are frozen, can take years, and then talks about Mt. Gox. I don't know if it's that fair to compare Mt. Gox to Voyager. They're similar, maybe. They both lost people's like Bitcoin and crypto. But Mt. Gox was hacked. Voyager was irresponsible. So it's a little bit different, I would think. And the hack would be you try and get the Bitcoin back, but can you actually get it back? Who really knows? Who's really at fault? Is it Mt. Gox for not having good security? Is it the hacker for going after and stealing people's stuff? Is it people for leaving it there? In both cases, the people that left on Mt. Gox or Voyager, both, you could probably make a case to say that they're at some sort of fault. But with Voyager, it was completely misleading from the beginning. They misled with their FDIC insurance, that it was FDIC insured, their cash balance. It never was. And they misled that they were responsible risk takers with loaning out your crypto to give you that yield. And they lied. They weren't. So one side is Voyager lying through their teeth at every single time they could. And another side is Mt. Gox, who might have been not enough experience and might have done things wrong, but there wasn't ill intent or lies going on there. So a little bit different, but still pretty similar. But he's right. The process still going on. This is what, like almost a decade now for Mt. Gox. So I don't think anyone wants to wait a decade to get their stuff back. And then we get to the big problem with the entire time. Various bankruptcy agents are slowly bleeding the customers' frozen assets dry with consulting fees. Voyager has to pay them their fees. They got to use some sort of money. They're going to use their customers' money that technically they own through their user agreement. But then this can cost customers hundreds of millions of dollars by the time's all said and done. And finally, there's an embedded option. And then we have even more things, but just this breaking down this, your money, say they had 75% left, but then after paying consultant fees for many, many years, and you're sitting there years later when you could have gotten that 75% back if Voyagers opened it up, said, this is what we have, we're going to try and take care of the other part. Now you have that 75% frozen, locked up. 2 years later, maybe that 75% through all the fees is down to 60%, 65%. You could have gotten 75% back at least. Now it's dropping even more because Voyager's using your money to pay for their bankruptcy. So it's a very messy thing. But then something very important is this right here, saying if a customer had 1 Bitcoin on the platform and BTC was worth 30K, and then it takes a year to go through bankruptcy, what do you get back? 1 Bitcoin or $30,000? And then the option is whichever is worth less. So the longer the process drags out, the more opportunity customers lose. Opportunity, I'm guessing, meant there. But that's even people with Mt. Gox are dealing with that. I mean, if you get back your Bitcoin you had, or do you get back the money, it's definitely going to be whatever is less. If Bitcoin's at 100K in 5 years when this gets settled and people get their things back, instead of getting $100,000, you can get your 30K. And then you missed out on $70,000 upside because it's frozen in an account that you couldn't even get access to. So lots of problems here. It's really, really bad. And why it's even more, why don't they just open up to 75%? Say, we're open to that. I mean, if they even could handle that, I think everyone would take their money out. So hopefully, they actually had the money there and could handle people taking everything out. But that's probably why they're not doing it, because they want to keep your money and they want to use your money to pay to try and make their company survive. So it's all wrong. And then he goes over FTX's offer to Voyager is, if accepted, any customer who wanted could come and get back their share of everything that remained as soon as possible. So the customer above would get back $75, saying whatever is percent's there, you would get back and retain their claim in case more was recovered from 3AC. I doubt anything would ever be recovered from 3AC. They blew up. They don't have money. I don't know where people think they're going to get money to pay them back, but this seems like the most realistic or legit offer. Just give people access to their money. Like, literally, it's not that hard. Why can't you give people access? If you have 75% and they had $100, why don't they have access to the $75 and then they can withdraw it, do whatever they want, and that 25 that's left over, you still have your claim there. If something comes, if you get back $10, or they can recover 50%, which is probably going to be ridiculous. I don't think they're going to recover anything from 3AC, but if they can recover 50%, you get like $10, $12 from that. And then you can withdraw that. And then your losses as a customer are severely less than what they would have been with the traditional process. But that hurts the traditional shareholders in the company. And then just even more clarifies, the offer would be to give Voyager customers back 100% of remaining assets Voyager has, including your claim. So basically the same thing, wrapping it up. But the Voyager lawyers say that he is actually not being so front forward with what he's saying Voyager's bankruptcy lawyer said FTX's buyout proposal to purchase the exchange's assets and give customers liquidity was harmful and highly misleading. I haven't seen anything directly from Voyager or Voyager's lawyers. So Sam put out an entire thread talking about what he sees as a problem, why this traditional route's bad, how it should work, and what he wants to do. But we have third-party sources saying, these lawyers are saying it's misleading. So the lawyers should come out and actually give a whole thread about what's misleading, why is it harmful, what are they doing, but they never will. And then this FTX responded to the lawyers against the liquidation proposal as they want to drain Voyager's funds by charging fees. So big battle here, FTX versus the Voyager bankruptcy lawyers. I think from surface level, without knowing the details of Sam Bankman-Fried's offer to buy the assets and what he gets, because he's got something in there that benefits him. He wouldn't do this just to be the good guy. If at bare minimum it's to buy customers for FTX, that could be it. but there's got to be something better for him in this deal. But he's definitely right on the surface. It's all ridiculous. Why don't you give the money back that you have to your customers? Figure out your company. You messed up. You were irresponsible. You didn't take proper risk management. You lent out the money and you lost it all. So your company probably going to go under. Voyager will never have the same brand recognition, will never be trusted again. They'll have to rebrand if they want to continue being a company, but you will always have that stain that you were Voyager, you're irresponsible, you can't take care of your customers, and you don't look after your customers first. You actually treat them as if your own savings account to try and bail yourself out. So none of this is good for Voyager. Publicity-wise, they're losing. They're losing bad. They look terrible. They're bankrupt, so their company is already terrible. They lost a bunch of money. They looks like they're gonna go under. Maybe someone buys them and bails them out and gets the company back. But at bare minimum, they have to do a rebranding, and then you always have that thought in someone's mind of saying that used to be Voyager. It's not safe. Don't go there. Don't be a customer. Go here instead. And basically, your company is probably never going to be the same, and it will probably collapse and you'll never be able to recover. As it should. They were irresponsible. They lost a bunch of money. A lot of people did, but you just can't do that. So see how it all plays out. See if FTX wins, they can make customers whole, and see if they actually have something hidden in that document. Because if they do, why aren't their lawyers coming out and saying, this is the problem with this? But if the Voyager lawyers are right and FTX says something, no one can tell you. It's all surface level. We don't have the deal to go over and look at. But for right now, looks like FTX, Sam Bankman-Fried's on the right track. Voyager and their lawyers are on the wrong one. That's going to do it for this video, guys. As always, don't forget to smash the like button and subscribe. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers. I'll see you guys in my next